a chartered accountant. I have done a couple of other professional qualifications also, and I have worked with some of the biggest names that are there in the industry. But how did the son of a doctor from small town India, from Nagpur, where I come from, how did he land at a place, Indian Nagar, right outside the metro station, having no roof over his head and completely homeless? Well, that's a story for a different day. But I specifically wanted to begin with that because it brings back a whole lot of memories from a time when I was struggling, when I did not know what it meant to survive in a city like Mumbai. And most of us often end up believing that when it comes to achieving some academic qualifications, when it comes to doing well in terms of studies, you have it all figured out. You have a red carpet lying in front of you, and all you have to do is, like an emperor, stand there one day and the world is waiting with open arms. Well, let me tell you, that is not what happens. And while I could have taken a cab to McDonald's right outside Andheri station on the west side, that reminds me of a time when I did not have enough money to even feed myself twice during a day. And all I had to do, or all I was forced to do, was go to McD, order a McAloo tikki it was worth 35 rupees back then, I'm talking about 2015, and I used to put ketchup sachets in my pocket, and those ketchup sachets, which I would basically lift from the store, would be my dinner for the day. And imagine what that would do to a person who was good academically, who always thought he had everything figured out, till one fine day, multiple situations led me to this point. When I realized having a professional qualification, having a CA, CS, ACCA, USCMA, all of these qualifications are not a guarantee to success. There are so many things that can go wrong, and let me tell you, so many things did go wrong. But I'm not here to talk about what went wrong, because I'm sure everyone has a sob story that they can go on and on and on about. But I'm here to talk about what happened after that, because it is not lost on me today that 10 years ago there was a Satyamedh Nandedkar outside Andheri station finding it difficult to feed himself 2 times a day. And I'm sure there is some small town person who has come to Mumbai with a whole lot of dreams and 4,000 rupees in his pocket. He needs this story, because if I can make it in spite of everything, I'm sure there is nothing that can stop any one of you from trying your luck in a city like Mumbai. I come from a traditional, typical Marathi middle class family. And middle class also has 3 subclasses in my mind. There's a phrase that our families often use, which is "Ugits kashala." Needlessly, why are you doing this? And that is one word, I was never comfortable with. Ugits kashala, why? Why do you need to do it? You can take the safe route. You can apply to a job in the Big Four, and I did. You can apply to, all the best places in the world. But let me tell you, disappointments after disappointments, failure after failure, and I had come out of my house with a lot of grit and gumption, I am going to make it big. And, it started giving me a feeling of the anti-Midas touch. Everything that I touched was turning to dust instead of turning to gold. And this went on for a period of 6 years, one failure after another, till a point where it had stopped registering. Interview hasn't worked out. Okay, this is the 50th one that hasn't worked out. You haven't gotten a pay hike. Okay, you haven't gotten a pay hike. Your English has been made fun of. Okay, maybe my English isn't up to the level it is supposed to be. And mind you, I was educated in an English medium school, for what it's worth. Imagine what that can do to the confidence of a person who till that day thought he knew everything. And there I am, standing completely clueless, looking at this city. And the day, I remember the day when I landed at VT station, CST for lack of the right word. I landed at CST station and the entire population of Nagpur was there. The Marathi middle class family, it might not pass on a lot of wealth as inheritance, they don't. But what they do pass on is grit, good sense and determination. The one thing, the one quality, well, we also get hereditary diseases in exchange, but that's okay. That's I'm okay to live with that, because what I really got in a part of this inheritance from my very humble middle class Marathi family is grit. My mother had specifically told me, come what may, you are not giving up. You will do whatever it takes, but you are not coming back, because for her it meant failure. And at that time, when you are 21, when you are 23, when you are very young, you feel, okay, why is she doing this to me? Why is she not, making me sit in her lap and, caressing me and saying, no, beta, you did your best, and, the world is a bad place. My mother was very clear, the world is a bad place or a good place, I don't care. I have raised you with enough grit and I have imbued you with certain qualities. There is no way you are coming back. And at that time I used to feel, why is she doing this to me? And let me tell you, this was probably the best thing that she could have done, because had she allowed me, had she given me that safe shelter back home in Nagpur, had she given me that option that, okay, Satyamedh, it's okay to fail, but you can always come back. Had that option been open, I would have never tried. I am sure she also shed a silent tear every day. I called her up and said, you know what, this is not working. You know what, they are making fun of me. You know what, the fact that I am from Nagpur, I am not getting shortlisted for interviews. It happens in so many campus interviews that they have your names written and your cities, which is essentially your PIN code. And after that, they also write where you have done your articleship from. Coming from a tier 2 city in 2013, not having the street smartness that a Mumbai kid has or a Delhi kid has, I had already lost out on so many opportunities even before going to the interview table. And this string of bad luck, I'm only calling it bad luck, continued for 6 years after I completed my chartered accountancy, and I was told this is the passport to everything brilliant in the world. I am standing there not getting anything. As I do not give up. You cry, you wallow in self-pity for a day, eating tubs and tubs of ice cream was really not an option for me, because you can clearly see I could have compounded my weight even further, so that was not an option. But she said, you cry for a day, I don't have a problem. You get back and you get on the floor the next day. And after trying on multiple occasions, I had worked with a couple of companies here, and there was an offer that came from another reputed company in Bahrain. And you know how the middle class mind works, right? My visa got rejected, and the reason, they said there is a patch on your lung. There was no patch on my lung at that point of time, but my visa application got rejected. I had the job offer but no visa, and I was jobless. I did not have any savings with me at that point in time. So I decided, okay, crying is not an option, going back is not an option. Whatever you have to do, you do it here. I rang up a couple of people. I asked them for, give me an opportunity. I wanted to try my hand at different things. They said, okay, come and audition for us, or, come and do an interview. And those interviews bombed. They did not work out. For some reason, I thought, okay, Satyamedh, let's try teaching. And, in our family, there is a running joke. They had an opening in Pune at that point in time. You had to travel on the weekends and come back and do your job. I said, okay, if you are paying me even 600 rupees an hour, I don't have a problem. I'll go teach there on the weekends and come back. My first lecture had my first batch ever, for which I had to travel between Mumbai and Pune every weekend, had 4 students. Sometimes only one would turn up, because I was definitely not a good teacher back then. But standing in front of people and voicing my thoughts on a subject that I have already well rehearsed somehow seemed to me that, okay, what they say about my family, Nandedkars love to teach, maybe Nandedkars are good at teaching. And I said, okay, let's give it a shot. I tried that first batch. I was getting some 22,000 rupees. That was the number. I was like, okay, you bring it on, guys. I'll do it. I'll do whatever you ask me to do. And that was the starting point of my teaching journey. Something that I am not formally trained for, but something that I slowly and surely, one batch led to another, led to a third one, led to a fourth one. And I remember this specific incident. Back in the day, we did not, this is pre-COVID by the way, we did not have, sophisticated shooting equipment and all of that. What they would do is they would install a camera, not even an iPhone, like a simple camera phone, and that would record the lecture. One student called me. I remember I was, I think, eating some chana or something. This is at Marine Drive. He called me and he said, "Sir, I really liked what you do. I binge watched your lectures." And I was like, okay, I have only heard the term, and by the time COVID had not come, so binge watching was not even a concept. He said, "Sir, I binge watched your lectures and I cleared." One student, of course, I do remember his name and he'll know when he listens to this. I said, okay, what I do. And it's not something that happens in a day, you are ridiculed. So there were senior faculties who were moving around, who had been in the business for a while, and they would make fun of you, "Arey, ye faltu subject padhata hai." Nobody took me seriously. And I literally, I was even scared of my shadow. I would go, finish my lecture, take my book and run away, because I didn't want to face people who were legends or stalwarts in their specific field. But because everybody thought that I was teaching what we in Bombaya terms called a lallu subject, nobody was paying attention to what I was doing, and that gave me all the opportunity to try without the constant fear of getting watched and monitored. One batch turned to 2, 3, 4, 5, and today as we speak I have taught 85 batches of students over the course of last 6.5 years, and I stand in front of you having mentored multiple students in their professional journey. Something that grew organically. One thing I knew, I'm not scared to work hard. There were days when I would start at 6 in the morning. I was still doing my venture capital job at that point in time. I would do a class 6 to 8:30. 8:30 to 9:30 I would do my household chores, because you need the setup. 9:30 to 7 I would do my office job, as in my venture capital job. 7 to 9:30 I would take another class, do some more cleaning in the house and dinner for another 15 minutes, start another session that would go on all the way up to 12, only to start the next class at 6 a.m. in the morning. The last 6 years I have not taken a single day off. I am constantly in a classroom. You could do everything else wrong, but yes, you cannot get hard work wrong. There is nothing that beats pure old Indian style hard work. You want me to teach fintech? There were occasions, I remember this moment very vividly. I had COVID and they used to get that CT, chest CT or something done, and the score was bad is what I was told later. And naturally, I was not supposed to step out of the house. Even when I had a drip attached to me, I was still taking a class, because I knew one thing, that if I have to survive in a city like Mumbai, if I forget making a mark, today before coming to the session, vision, oh, I wanted to succeed. I wanted to survive. I wanted to make sure that come what may, I don't want to go red-faced to my parents' house and tell them I failed. That was not acceptable to me nor to them. I labor on. I might have gotten a 3 rating on 5, I might have gotten a 2 rating on 5, but I was like, okay, I'll again get into the classroom tomorrow and I'll show myself how it's done. I had no intentions of showing anyone else how it's done. I did not know. I still don't. I still don't have the recipe for what makes you a successful teacher. But I know one thing, nothing and absolutely nothing beats when you decide to work hard. I have been sitting with piles of books and preparing, as I said, when I was sick. I remember this incident very vividly. My father had taken ill and COVID was going on, and he was admitted and we had to put him on the ventilator at that point in time. I have done that. I have spoken to the doctor that, okay, let's do this because that's the need of the hour. I have come home and I have conducted a lecture. I have made sure that nothing and absolutely nothing can take me away from the work that I am doing. And while on this journey, it wasn't as if everything was laid out like a bed of roses. Your PIN code, by the way, makes a lot of difference. If you come from small town India, no one takes you seriously. And there is the big boys club, be it Mumbai, be it Delhi, be it any other city. There is the big boys club out there, and they will make sure that they don't give you a seat at the table. You will always be a second tier citizen for them. I was okay with that, because I knew even if they don't like me, even if they don't consider me one of them, if I do my work properly, there is that audience of students who wants to listen to the genuine effort that is going in from my end. I have been, so once I was wearing colleges and delivering lectures, and because of my bald head, which by the way this light will make shine like no one's business, people presume already that I am 50, I am not, and they have started calling, oh, you are an industry expert. I said, ye kab hua yaar? Because till 4 years ago, I knew nothing. You are throwing me out of rooms, and suddenly I am an industry expert. I mean, wow, yaar, that's something that I am very happy about. So today, when I make the journey all the way from a homeless space in front of DN Nagar metro station to here, where there is an opportunity to present my journey, I don't know whether it counts as an achievement, but this is a moment that I take to reflect back on what has happened, and oh my God, I have survived this. I have survived days without food. I have survived days without any kind of moral support from absolutely anyone. Now I have realized, oh, okay, if I can survive that, I can survive anything else. But what remained constant in this entire journey was the kindness of strangers. This city has given me some of the best moments, some of the best people who have supported me, heard me cry my lungs out, and after that continued to support me, continued to be with me in spite of the many flaws that I have. Never wanted me to become a teacher because they thought, isse kya hoga? So when I got, see, I'm very middle class, okay. When I got my first iPhone, it was an achievement that I can spend whatever amount on a phone and I can show it to my parents, ki, see, this I got with teaching. So when I got my the firsts are always important, right? The first good review, the first friend you make in an unknown city, the first AC that you buy, the first Domino's that you order with your own money, all of these are very special. Looking back, that is all that Mumbai has given me. It made me a teacher. It gave me a career that I never dreamt of. Otherwise, I would be slaving making income tax returns and cases. That's not a bad job, by the way. I thoroughly enjoyed that part also. But this makes me happy. Interacting with students, giving them, till yesterday, till 11:30 last night, I was teaching. I took a flight at 1:30 in the middle of the night and came here. I go back again and I teach tomorrow because my kids have their exams in the next week. Funny thing, even my sister, I love what I do. I love talking to students, and you know what makes me the happiest? I don't have to ask them for money. There is an institute, the commercial relationship is between them and the institute, me and the institute. There is no commercial relationship with my students. So when I get into a classroom, I never have to worry about the money that I'm supposed to collect from them. I can do my job, not constrained by the number of hours, not constrained by these factors, do whatever it takes to make sure that the student who comes to me goes to the examination center with the best kind of confidence that he can have. See, I cannot be responsible for a bad keyboard or a bad hair day or any of that, but yes, I can be responsible for sending him with confidence to the examination center, and I think in that department, I have done a pretty good job, and I want to continue doing that job till the time my throat and my body allows me to do. That also had become a problem a couple of months ago, but all of that on one side. Today, this is a moment where I'm only full of gratitude and I'm only hopeful and wishful of what the future holds for me.